coming up today on Good Morning BU.
Israel releases over 600 Palestinian prisoners after a delay.
And the Massachusetts legislature passes a deal to support the state's emergency shelter system.
Our campus correspondent talks to a BU Justice in Palestine student about their latest bill.
And I sit down with the club women's ice hockey president post a record-breaking season.
And a theater and Coolidge Corner is hosting the screening of a documentary depicting the ongoing destruction faced by a Palestinian village group.
Live from Studio West in the College of Communication, Good Morning BU starts right now.
And welcome to Good Morning BU. I'm Kara Mim.
And I'm Sophia Falbo. Here are today's top stories. Israel confirmed Hamas handed over 4 Israeli bodies yesterday in exchange for the delayed release of more than 600 Palestinian prisoners from Israel. Hundreds of detained Palestinians reunited with family after stepping off Red Cross buses outside of a hospital in Khan Yunis. A Hamas leader says that dozens of more prisoners also arrived in Egypt. This exchange follows the release of the wrong body by Hamas. Last week, the Israeli military confirmed that one of the bodies received was not that of Cherie Bibas. Her body arrived shortly after, prompting thousands of Israelis to line the streets for the Bibas funeral. This handover marks the start of the final swap in the 42-day truce between Israel and Hamas. As talks continue for the next phase of the ceasefire, Hamas insists on a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, while Israel demands the return of living hostages.
Earlier this week, President Donald Trump posted an AI-generated video of Gaza transformed into a resort-like city. The video features tech billionaire Elon Musk, who is seen eating hummus while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lounges on the beach next to Trump. A golden statue of Trump is also seen at the end. This comes amid media outlets no longer having a say on which journalists are allowed to report on the White House. The White House will have full control over who is allowed access to Trump, defying a decade-long tradition. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the administration is hoping to give access to news outlets that have never been in the press pool before. Looking internationally, Trump says the U.S. will impose additional tariffs on China. The new update would raise tariffs on incoming goods by another 10%. Trump also says he plans to increase tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada by at least 25% next week. Trump cites drugs coming over the border as part of the reason for the aggressiveness.
The drugs continue to pour into our country, killing hundreds of thousands of people. We're losing substantially more than 100,000 people. I mean, dead. They're dead. The families are destroyed after that happens. So it's not just that's the ultimate, but the families are absolutely destroyed. The drugs come in through Mexico. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them come from China, and that's why we did that. It's 10 plus 10.
China has already responded to the first round of tariffs with its own tariffs on U.S. products.
In similar news, after more than 2 years as the Washington Post's opinion editor, David Shipley is resigning from the paper. His resignation comes after Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos announced a major shift in the opinion section to solely focus on, quote, personal liberties and free markets. Bezos' decision undermines the Post's decades-long approach to commentary and criticism. This change signals the paper's rightward shift under the Trump administration and Bezos' leadership. Veteran journalists at the Post who disagree with Bezos' decisions, like cutting the presidential endorsement of former Vice President Kamala Harris, are leaving the paper along with Shipley.
Shifting back to politics, the Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, recently deleted 5 of the biggest government spending cuts they previously boasted about. DOGE revealed last week a, quote, wall of receipts, a website showing cuts DOGE made to decrease government spending. But after media outlets pointed out mathematical errors in the wall of receipts, the 5 biggest saving initiatives were taken down. The website is the only publicly documented work by DOGE so far.
Today is no ordinary Friday as citizens across the country call for a 24-hour economic blackout. The movement was started by a grassroots group called the People's Union USA. The organization and its supporters encourage U.S. consumers to participate in a protest against corporate corruption by not spending money at major companies such as Target. The idea behind the protest comes from a rise in pricing for a variety of goods and services.
Meanwhile, in Rome, Pope Francis is showing signs of improvement from his respiratory condition, but still remains under close observation by doctors this morning. The Vatican reported yesterday that he worked from his hospital room and visited his private chapel to pray. While the Pope's condition was not referred to as critical, doctors said that he needs more days to recover before he can be considered out of danger. The 88-year-old Pope, who had part of his lung removed as a child, has been in the hospital dealing with bronchitis since February 14th.
Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found dead on Wednesday in their New Mexico home. A maintenance worker went to the couple's home Wednesday afternoon, and when no one answered the door, the worker asked local security officers to conduct a welfare check. Officers saw the couple, along with their dog, unresponsive through the window and called 911. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office said in a statement yesterday that there were no apparent signs of foul play, but their deaths were suspicious enough to warrant a search and investigation. Arakawa was found lying in the bathroom with an opened bottle of prescription pills, and Hackman was found in a mudroom. Autopsy results are still pending, and investigators are, quote, keeping everything on the table. This tragic news has shocked fans and the entertainment industry, who remember Hackman for his iconic roles in films such as The French Connection and Unforgiven.
A Texas child passed away from the measles on Tuesday. The child, who remains unidentified, is the first person to have died from the measles in the country since 2015. The child was unvaccinated. Although once considered eliminated in the U.S., the spread of vaccine misinformation has led to states dipping below the CDC's recommended vaccination threshold since the COVID-19 pandemic. This decrease in the vaccination rate has caused outbreaks in Chicago and Texas. In response to the outbreaks, the CDC recommends that adults who were vaccinated before 1968 receive a booster dose.
Continuing in the medical field, more than 1,000 people have died in the last 5 years after not making off the kidney transplant list. This data has led reporters and doctors alike to suspect that organ donations, specifically of kidneys, are not getting allocated the way that they should. The current system says that patients in the most dire need of a kidney are first on the list to get one. However, those near the top of this list are getting increasingly skipped over. Donor transplant organizations are prioritizing ease and convenience over the order of the names on the lists. A New York Times investigation saw that those receiving kidneys are disproportionately white, Asian, men, and college graduates, and not at the top of the list. Similarly, organizations are giving high-quality organs to select hospitals.
In some exciting news, CBS announced its new show, Beyond the Gates, the first hour-long daytime soap opera with a predominantly black cast on network TV. This will be the first new daytime soap opera on network TV in 25 years. Beyond the Gates is set in a fictional suburb in Maryland known as a home for wealthy black families. The show follows a powerful and prestigious family as they reign over a posh gated community with juicy secrets and scandals waiting to be uncovered. Coming up next, how a Massachusetts bill is set to bring major changes to the shelter system, and the unexpected return of JFK Library employees after their dismissal last week. Stay tuned for more after this break.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that the big homie needs help too. You can't just rebound from everything. I know you've been grinding.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. I wonder why we waited so long. I'm not wondering anymore. Love, your mind. Let's see how far we can go.
Welcome back. Massachusetts House and Senate leaders passed a deal that will bring $425 million into the emergency shelter system. Now, the amount of time families can stay in the shelter will be shortened from 9 to 6 months. It also looks to cut the number of families allowed in the system from 7,500 to 4,000 throughout 2026. The deal aims to lower costs in the shelter system amid migrant and housing crises across the state.
The John F. Kennedy Presidential Library says 5 workers who were let go from their jobs last week have now been rehired. The library stated that the workers are critical to the library making money and daily upkeep. It was temporarily shut down last week due to a staffing shortage after workers were laid off as part of the Trump administration's initiative to dismiss probationary federal employees.
Boston's mayoral election is coming this fall, but an early look shows 2 Democrats battling it out. Incumbent Mayor Michelle Wu leads challenger Josh Kraft with 43% compared to his 29%, while 24% said they were undecided. Boston voters viewed Wu more favorably than Kraft, who has no experience in government. His political momentum comes from his decades-long involvement in the Boys and Girls Club of Boston and his family's substantial wealth. His father is the billionaire Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Wu's strongest supporters are among Hispanic and Asian voters. Emerson College conducted the poll February 24 through 26, and it included 617 registered Boston voters. Wu has not formally announced her re-election bid.
In some sad community news, 3 women from Revere were found unconscious in their hotel room at the Royal Cahal Beach Resort in Belize last week. While no visible injuries were reported, Belize police say there were signs of a possible overdose. Investigators saw a buildup of fluids in their lungs and are currently awaiting final test results, expected within a month. The government is currently working to transport their bodies back to the U.S. While investigators stress no reason to stop travel to Belize, the U.S. Department of State warns Americans to exercise increased caution. Moving back to Boston, let's hear about how AI impacts our city with our interview correspondent, George Lehman.
Artificial intelligence, while new to many, is increasingly playing a greater part of our daily lives. But the popularity of AI is sparking concerns about the impact on energy consumption. We spoke with Aisha Ghoshkun, professor and director of the Center for Information and Systems Engineering at BU, to better understand the impact AI is having in Boston. Could you explain a little bit about how AI technologies consume energy?
AI uses more energy than some other applications because it typically processes a lot of data, very large data sets. When you want to query or look up this model, like you write a question in ChatGPT, that querying also consumes energy.
ChatGPT developer OpenAI announced over 400 million weekly active users this month alone.
Large language models like ChatGPT, like others, Gemini, Llama, so all the big companies and some small companies have their large language models. These consume more energy because they process immense amount of data.
Ghoshkun explained this data is then processed at data centers, which can cause a strain on Boston's power grid. Market intelligence and advisory firm Baxtel counts 41 data centers in Boston's data center market.
This can create grid congestion for the power grid, basically when there's too much demand. It's hard to manage this much demand. And if when not managed carefully, this can create problems like blackouts. The typical example everybody knows about is in summer months when everybody turns on their AC, sometimes there are blackouts because the demand is too much for the grid to sustain.
Ghoshkun says that data centers can be run more sustainably by varying their power consumption as using AI becomes more popular.
So data centers can provide flexibility, and that will reduce some of the strain on the grid. And in Boston, Boston is an interesting place. There's a thriving tech sector. There's a thriving healthcare sector. All of these sectors will leverage more AI. There's also finance and all kinds of businesses, right? So we do expect to see growth in AI and therefore growth in data center power consumption.
Boston Consulting Group says that leading companies in artificial intelligence are planning to spend $1.8 trillion over the next 5 years in building data centers, meaning that we'll be seeing more centers like CoreSite here in Somerville very soon. Reporting for Good Morning BU, I'm George Lehman.
Thanks, George. AI can do a lot, but too bad it can't tell us exactly how cold it will be this weekend. But maybe our weather correspondent Courtney Knight can?
I can sure try, Kara. Let's see what the sky is cooking up in this weekend's forecast. It'll be tough to get through this weekend without too many wind interruptions. Today, temperatures will reach a high of 44 degrees with gusts up to 30 miles per hour, and tonight they will dip down to 34 degrees. Looking ahead to Saturday, expect the first day of March to give us a sneak peek of spring with a high of 56 and a low of 18 with clouds. On Sunday, you'll have to bring those coats and gloves back out as temperatures will peak around 28 degrees with winds up to 25 miles per hour. As March rolls in, be prepared to hold on to your hats this weekend. Is the cooler weather going to be ruining any plans for you guys this weekend?
I'm gonna really try hard for it not to be. I'm dying to get to the new Swedish candy store in the South End. I don't know if you guys heard it. I've never had it before,
No.
but I've heard the best reviews on TikTok. I gotta make my way over there at some point.
Awesome. I don't have that plan, but like maybe I can join. I have to do a long run because I'm training for a marathon, and it's just so annoying to run in the wind and like the rain. So hopefully it won't be too bad, but yeah, maybe I can join. Maybe we can all go.
Courtney, come too.
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. And on that chilly note, let's warm up with a break.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
It's important to get a flu shot each and every year because flu viruses are constantly changing and immunity from the vaccine decreases over time. Flu vaccines are updated annually to work against that year's viruses. The best time to get your shot is in the fall, but getting it later can still help. Getting a flu shot lowers your risk of getting sick, and if you do happen to get flu, it's likely to be less severe.
Welcome back. Students for Justice in Palestine proposed another vote to student government calling for BU to divest from companies that support the state of Israel. Our campus correspondent, Akua Deval, is reporting live from the George Shoreman Human with more information.
Hi, Kara. I'm here live in front of the Center for Gender, Sexuality, and Activism, where today marks 2 days since voting closed on a referendum bill that would allow BU to not invest in companies that are pro-Israel in the war on Gaza. The proposal was created by BU Students for Palestine, in which they sent out a campus-wide survey allowing students to vote on 3 yes or no questions involving disclosure, divestment, and reinvestment. Though a revote was held after the BU student body nullified the bill on February 11th, citing, quote, security and technological issues. I'm here with BU student and SJP member Mary Haddad to talk more about the issues surrounding this decision. Hi, Mary. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you. So basically, the BU student body said that the BU Board of Trustees forced them to nullify the results due to some technological concerns. What have they told your club about that?
Yeah, so the results were nullified because BUSJP met a technological difficulty that was promoted mostly because it was manufactured because we did not have access to Qualtrics. We had to use an outside resource. In addition, we did not want to run the referendum initially, but because BU withheld those resources from us, we had to. Met a technological difficulty. BUSJP and student government came to a decision together for student government to run the referendum with access to Qualtrics.
Interesting. And so another issue ran into was the Board of Trustees rejecting 2 proposals asking for the school to divest from Israel.
Yes.
And so with them and Melissa Gilliam, our president, rejecting with a hard no, what is your response to that? And also what inspired you guys to continue to do a revote despite the pushback?
Yeah, our response to the Board of Trustees, first of all, they're rewriting their democratic policies for the Palestinian exception. That is super important to note. There's a whole process, and President Gilliam completely override it, expedited it, and that led to the rejection of the two petitions from two different orgs. When we met the technological difficulties, student government recognized that it was important to support a democratic vote on a student body general opinion. So the student government supported the nature of the referendum. And that is essentially why we were able to do it again and garner a statistic.
And so one of the questions was about reinvestment, calling for reinvestment. And so what do you specifically want to see BU invest in, whether the company or cause?
We want to see BU invest in Boston as a whole and our campus. So not invest in the military complex. But in addition to that demand, we first demand disclosure of all investments and endowments. That is our first demand.
SJ, thank you so much.
Thank you.
SJP says that the vote from the survey will come out later today. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Akua. Stick with us after this break to hear all about BU sports news.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Welcome back. Anyone in the mood for peanuts and Cracker Jacks? Well, with Major League Baseball's opening day less than 1 month away, our sports correspondent Lily Chapman is here in studio to break down ways the Red Sox can find success this upcoming season.
Spring is budding, which means it's almost time for us Terriers to get back to Fenway Park for some hot dogs and baseball. With returning key players and newcomers, Red Sox fans have a lot to look forward to this season. Watch out for the ball, because Masataka Yoshida is back and ready for action. The designated hitter is back after a thumb and shoulder injury kept him off home plate last year. Yoshida also prepared for increased outfield positions this season, so his willingness to adapt may be the flexibility Boston needs to thrive this year. Also returning to the field is Tristan Casas, who is undeniably a must-watch player. Casas has already shown flashes of power. He hit 24 home runs in 132 games in 2023. Now he is fully recovered from a rib injury and is projected to surpass 30 home runs if he stays on the field for the full season. I know that I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Overall, Boston's 2025 lineup is looking strong, but there's one addition who could make this lineup more fierce and balanced, and that's none other than Alex Bregman. He has a 27% batting average and a 36% on-base percentage. His addition makes the Red Sox a legitimate contender for the postseason. And on the pitcher's mound, Boston signed Walker Buehler and Garrett Crochet. If they can stay healthy, I have no doubt that these pitchers will improve the team's pitching depth, given Crochet's high velocity and Buehler's ability to perform in clutch moments. This is what the Red Sox desperately needs to emerge victorious in the competitive AL East. So now the big question is, will Boston's move to improve their roster be enough, or will fans be left disappointed? Only time will tell. Either way, I am thrilled to see how things will play out for the Red Sox this year. Back to you, Kara.
Only time will tell indeed. Thanks, Lily. Switching gears to the ice, we have the president and captain of the women's club ice hockey team live in studio with us. Take it away, Sophia.
Thanks, Kara, and thank you, Ella, so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm wondering, what made this season more successful for the team than in past years?
I think the biggest thing was we had 35 people try out and 15 of our players are brand new. So we have a completely new team and we're excited and we're ready to go for the year.
For fans who don't know, they're heading to Nationals this year for the first time ever. So I'm wondering how the team is preparing for the Nationals that I just said, especially being the first team at BU to do so in the club division.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is really getting back together as a team and really establishing that team dynamic and focusing on the fundamentals that we've been working on all season. We're really trying to get excited and have fun for the first time going.
That sounds great. Everybody here in studio, and I know everyone at BU is also rooting for you. Thank you so much for being here with us, Ella. It was great having you.
Thank you.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's head over to Coolidge Corner to take a look at a film that captures the realities of life in the Gaza Strip with our arts and entertainment correspondent, Samantha Genzer.
At Brookline's Coolidge Corner Theater, a rare opportunity has drawn in local audiences, the screening of the documentary No Other Land. Directed by Bazil Adra, Hamdan Bala, Yuval Abraham, and Rachel Zazor, the film documents the ongoing destruction of the Palestinian village group Mazafar Yatta by the Israeli military.
It's this microcosm of what's happening in Mazafar Yatta, but it's really representative of what's happening throughout all of Palestine.
As part of the theater's Panorama series, the screening was followed by a post-film discussion on February 7th led by Michael Maria, the programming director of the Boston Palestine Film Festival. Despite earning a Berlin Film Festival award and an Oscar nomination, the film is unavailable for streaming in the U.S.
A lot of distributors don't want to take a risk on Palestinian programming, which they view as controversial.
BU freshman Emma Clements, who watched the documentary on February 10th, said it provides key context to the current conflict, covering the 4 years before the Israel-Hamas war.
I think a lot of people who aren't super informed about the conflict kind of think it's just been a thing since October 7th. So I think the film is really important in showing that there is more to the conflict than just that.
During the post-film panel, Salma Abiyash from the Palestine Film Institute spoke about the emotional toll of sharing these stories.
Address the audience in a way that I think some people might have not liked. And I basically said that we are tired of Americans. We are tired of you coming to watch our films and doing nothing about it.
Maria said he and the other panelists also conveyed their deep frustration with the ongoing situation in the U.S. and Palestine.
We're frustrated that we've been saying this same message over and over again, year after year, and nothing changes. And that frustration came through during the panel loud and clear.
With its powerful message and critical acclaim, No Other Land is a must-see. For GMBU, I'm Samantha Genzer.
Thank you, Samantha. That looks like a super impactful film. I'm gonna have to find a way to see it.
Absolutely. I wish that I was able to see it. I know Coolidge Corner puts on such amazing and really important documentaries, such as this one. I feel like I learned so much just in those 2 minutes.
Yeah. But that's going to be it for this week at Good Morning BU. And from all of us here on the GMBU team, thank you so much for watching. I'm Kara Mem.
And I'm Sophia Falbo. Stay safe and have a great weekend.